All right, let's dive into the tragic sacrifice of Iphigenia. So, this was a really interesting piece to do for a few reasons. One is this is a famous tragedy play, Iphigenia at Aulis, and very dark content here. Agamemnon sacrifices his own daughter to the goddess Artemis so the armies can sail for Troy. So I wanted the layout of the composition to feel like a stage set. So most of the art assets, objects, and characters are kind of in the foreground. I'm going to probably continue to lean into that for more future scenes from Greek tragedies, just because I think set design is a pretty cool discipline in and of itself. And I like the idea of doing that someday in the future, is doing some set designs for some theatrical projects. But also, I'll talk about the color palette when we get into the color sketch. But the composition here, there's a lot of elements, a lot of characters to balance as always. So just making sure that everyone gets a little bit of breathing room and the eye can float around the image. I also wanted to throw in the two eagles, which represent Agamemnon and Menelaus from a Omen, and that's like a little Easter egg. So I'll throw them up in the sky here in a sec. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the composition. I think it turned out pretty good. So moving into the color sketch, as usual, I'm kind of finding my way in the color sketch. I don't always know exactly what the final color palette will be. Sometimes I have a pretty clear idea, and sometimes I'm kind of flailing and finding my way. But with this one, I knew I kind of wanted to go with a warm orangey, oppressive, almost like an oppressively humid feel. And you're not seeing it yet, but when we get to the end, you'll see how I start pushing it in that direction. And I think that's a good direction for the Iliad and the war scenes as well, because that book is incredibly dark. The content is dark. So I really want to lean into that as I move forward with the Trojan War cycle and illustrate those scenes in a way that we haven't seen before. So instead of going heroic and honorific and elevated and romantic, going dark and gritty and bloody and almost like a horror scene, which I think will be really interesting because I don't think we've really seen the Iliad done like that, or at least I haven't. So I'm excited to get into that. And as we get towards the end here, you can see how I'm starting to push the colors towards like a warmer hue, and almost like it just feels like hot, super hot. So yeah, hope you like it.